Guy here, and I am back for day 8 of the Cineworld Movie Daily Challenge. If this is your first time at one of these movie daily challenges, let me explain what's going on. The UK cinema chain Cineworld put a challenge up on their Twitter page, where every day for 30 days they put a little question up about a film and you respond with your personal preference. I tried to nick that idea and do it in video format, and today is the 8th day of that challenge. So if you do like this video, drop it a like, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can see when the other videos come up for this. Obviously they are daily videos, and obviously put your personal preferences in the comments. I do respond to all comments, so if either of you just fancy a chat, hit me up there and let's go. So as I said, this is day 8, and the challenge for today was your favourite film that is set in space. For me, this was not even a consideration. It was always going to be Star Wars. Obviously I've chosen The Empire Strikes Back, but I'm more thinking of the whole Skywalker saga really. But obviously it said film, so I just chose my favourite of them, which is The Empire Strikes Back. I say favourite, they're all good, aren't they? I say they're all good. All the original trilogy are good, aren't they? And there's some other good ones scattered around the prequels and the sequels. I'll probably get roasted for some of that comments, but I like more than the others. I like them all, but there's more I like than the others, but that's not really here to talk about. So I'm going to, obviously I wanted to choose kind of the original trilogy as a whole, but it said film, so I chose my favourite of them. As I said, even that it changes. I really like the first one as well. And the third one, I mean, I can talk about that. We'll do a whole video if you want to talk about that. It's not what we're here to talk about. So if you don't know Star Wars, basically it's trying to summarise it as fast as possible. It's a film set in space, good v evil. You've got the main character, Luke Skywalker, who wants to become a Jedi. It's going to be quite hard to explain to someone in about 2 minutes, isn't it? Basically then he's got to fight the evil Darth Vader and the Emperor, and basically it's an action adventure in space. Good v evil. It's very much a standard good v evil film, a few twists in there, and it's an absolute classic. It's a film that was released, well, talking about The Empire Strikes Back, released in 1980. It starred Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, as did all the original trilogy, and some of the sequel trilogy did. We've got Harrison Ford as Han Solo, Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, and Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia Organa. So yeah, it's hard to summarise what these films are in a short amount of time. It's obviously, I'm sure you've all seen it. Some of the most popular films ever made. The only reason, obviously, the storyline is quite simple, but it's a lot to explain. What a Jedi is, what a Sith is, Darth Vader's motivations, the Emperor's motivations, Yoda. It's quite a lot happens in these films, but with quite a simple storyline, which is obviously the good v evil standard storyline. But obviously, as I said, these films are some of the most popular films ever made. The first film, The New Hope, coming out in, I believe it was 1977, basically changed sci-fi films forever. And like it or not, most sci-fi films since are carbon copies or trying to jump on the Star Wars bandwagon. I'm not saying all of them are. Films like Blade Runner and things like that obviously do their own thing, and obviously that's why they've gone down history themselves. But a lot of other films want to jump on the Star Wars bandwagon, and can you blame them? It's this multi-billion-dollar franchise, or excuse me, that changed the entire world of cinema. It basically changed what a blockbuster can be. So Star Wars, for me personally, is a film that I got to know when I was quite young. As when George Lucas decided to remaster the films, they brought them out in the cinema again. And my dad took me and my brother every Wednesday for 3 weeks to watch his films. And in between those, we'd rewatch the film we'd seen the previous week over and over again, because we had them on VHS as well. So my dad would take me to see New Hope on the Wednesday. Then pretty much every day until the next Wednesday, I'd watch New Hope. Then we're going on to the cinemas on the showcase cinemas on the next Wednesday, watch Empire Strikes Back, and every day I'd watch Empire Strikes Back. And obviously the same with Return of the Jedi. So Star Wars was instantly one of the first, I think it's probably the first film that I watched and truly fell in love with and wanted to be immersed by the world of it. I read books, I played the games, watched every film at the cinemas multiple times. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm not going to say I'm one of the biggest fans in the slightest, because there's loads I haven't read and loads I haven't played and loads I haven't watched. So I'm saying I'm a big Star Wars fan, but far from a massive fan or even the biggest fan. I'm just a fan. Because Star Wars is such a huge multimedia genre that you can't just be a mega fan or a #1 fan of watching the films a couple of times and reading a couple of books, playing a few games, and watching a few of the television shows. It's such a massive world. There's conventions just for Star Wars, and cosplaying teams such as the 501st who are just for Star Wars. It's such a huge thing, and this was the first film for me that took over my life. I understood film. I wanted to understand film. This was the first. Obviously, film is a big part of my life now, and this is, I believe, it all stems from Star Wars. So Star Wars has a massive part of my heart, and it always will. So when I had to choose my favourite film set in space, there was no question about what it was going to be. I mean, I'm a huge sci-fi fan now, and there's so many films I could have picked. And some of the films I've used, such as Blade Runner and other sci-fi films that I'm yet to use in later videos, because I wanted to explore my love of films set in space and sci-fi. As you can see, I've got a multi-signed Star Wars poster there, Doctor Who signed poster there. Sci-fi is huge for me, and all stemmed from this one film. So even though I could have picked other films for this category, there couldn't have been any other film for me, really, because this film is such a huge part of my life. And if this film didn't land up on one of these lists, on the challenges, it would have been a disgrace for me. But going through the questions in his list and later on in the videos, you'll hear me say a few times that I could have picked Star Wars for that category, and it would have fit so perfectly. But my rules I've set for these videos are I can only pick one film once, or one from a franchise once. So one Star Wars film, and I can't use any more Star Wars films. Pick a Marvel film, no more Marvel films. That's the kind of parameters I was trying to set myself stupidly. Well, Star Wars will land on a few of these categories, in my opinion. But that's me. So my favourite film set in space, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. So I could have picked any of those three. I picked The Empire Strikes Back because it was just all my favourite. It was most actiony. It had obviously that great twist. No spoilers in these videos, so I'm not even going to talk about that twist. If you haven't seen it, obviously you find out yourself. What I found fault in Return of the Jedi is one aspect I didn't like, which I'll just throw out now. I'm not a huge fan of the Ewoks. I think it stopped the storyline a little bit. Obviously, I'm going to get roasted in the comments for that. But I like him more now, and I liked him as a kid, but as a teenager and early 20s, I hated the Ewoks. So that's why it kind of demerits that film a bit for me. then A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back are really up there for me, but Empire Strikes Back is the film that made me fall in love with Star Wars. I like Star Wars and New Hope, but Empire Strikes Back is when it all clicks into place for me, so it had to be this one. So, favourite film set in space, which would you pick? Is it Star Wars? If so, which Star Wars would you have if you had to pick one of them? If it isn't Star Wars, what would you pick? Let me know in the comments. As I said, I reply to all comments, so let's start a conversation there. If you enjoyed this video, drop it a like, drop a subscribe, hit the bell notification, and that's me. Have a good, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you'd like to drop a like, a subscribe, share, hit the bell notification, that would be amazing. And you will see on this side of my head, you will see another video which YouTube has recommended just for you. And on this side of my head, you will see a logo to subscribe to the channel. If you want to hit that, I will love you forever. Goodbye.